All right, folks, we've pulled over on the side of the road this morning to go through and get a bit of smoko for the crew, ready to go. I've got our travel buddy that's been preheating for about 45 minutes at the moment. We're going to go through and we're going to cook a damper. Now, I've got a few ingredients in the fridge that we're going to chuck together. Essentially, it's going to be jalapeno cheese, chives, bacon, and a few other bits and pieces, and we'll whip up a quick damper. Couple of hours in the travel buddy, we'll be able to pull over and it'll be perfect time for smoko. Bush cooking. In my canopy, I got Dometic's CRX 140 litre fridge. The thing is massive and it is bloody unbelievable how much food you can squeeze into this thing. What do we got? Milk. So it is a bit noisy. We're not far off the main road here, so excuse the noise from the trucks. First things first, I got a bit of Mercy Valley jalapeno cheese, some chives. So we'll go through, start chopping up a few of the chives and bits and pieces. So with a damper, to be honest, you can put whatever you want in there. You can just do a standard plain damper with a bit of butter on it, bit of jam, whatever tickles your fancy. With a damper, it's limitless on what you can put into it. The main thing with cooking in the travel buddies, they do work as an oven and they do work very well. It's just getting used to them. Now, there's a lot of customers that, when I'm talking to customers in the sales side of Core Off-Road, there's heaps of people say to me, I don't eat pies, so I don't want a pie oven. These things aren't just a pie oven. You can literally cook pretty much anything in these travel buddies. Now, both of, two of Core Off-Road's canopy models, the GTX and the GTU, come standard with the large 12-volt marine oven. I guarantee probably the first half a dozen things that you're going to cook, you'll either undercook or overcook. It's just a matter of getting used to it. So I've gone through, chopped up some chives there. I'll get these suckers straight in, ready to go. Got a big mixing bowl there and we can put it all together. So the big thing with the travel buddy, if you can do that preheat, 45 minutes, an hour, it does make a hell of a difference. Self-raising flour, I don't know how much, about yay much. You can always add more as we go. Now, jalapeno cheese, all I'm going to do is just pretty well break this up in my fingers. Kind of doesn't have to be too crazy. If it's chunky, then great. As we're mixing it, it'll break up a bit more as well. The main thing with a damper, once you get that self-raising flour in, a couple of eggs, all that kind of stuff. If you do need more flour in there, that's fine. You can chuck more in. If it's too dry, you can add a bit more milk. I got bacon pieces. Chuck them bad boys in. A couple of eggs. I'll go through a little bit of milk in there. And we'll go through and mix all that gear up. So one thing you have to remember, as I said before, that preheat. Now, I've got it set on 200 degrees and I've got it on to run, which means there's no timer, it'll just run constantly. Okay, I'll go through. Start to give this a bit of a mix up. I might add a bit of salt and pepper in there. So all we're doing is we're trying to get that consistency of that damper. So it's basically going to hold its own weight. Go through. I've got one frozen egg in there. You'll be right. So you can see on that side how it's all sticking together. There's big chunks of cheese in there, everything like that, which is fine. through, touch more milk. Now it's for the messy part. You're going to get in and start to combine all of these. Go through a little bit of flour. Basically start to bring this all together. If it is a little bit dry, you can add a bit more milk into it, but you'll find majority of the time you'll think that it's too dry, but it's actually not. One thing with the cheese and that as well is that once the cheese all starts to cook, you will get a bit more moisture in there.
So where are we, Jimmy?
We're about 400 k's from the South Australian border. So we're on our way to the Brisbane four-wheel drive show. While we're going, I'm doing a couple of cooking segments, show you guys that these travel buddies aren't just for cooking meat pies. So for my damper, fits in perfect in the travel buddy. I use just a loaf tin, so I'll go through and get the rest of this stuff all in there. Now the other trick with the loaf tin to stop things from cooking, or what I do anyway, is I actually grease the tin before I put the damper in. So I'll show you that section in a minute. That's going to be more than enough by the time that rises. More than enough for two of us. So, grease the tin. All I do is a bit of paper towel. Take a good old scoop of butter. Although it's non-stick, I still go through and I just wipe the butter all through the tin. Like that. And then I just tip a little bit of flour in there. Swish that flour around everywhere so it sticks to the butter. The wind's blowing straight to Cole, the cameraman, today, so it's going to get a bit of flour in his face. That's it. So our tin's greased and the flour in there. Time to go through and we'll shape this up. Straight in. Now it's going to be around 2 hours for that to cook. It is good to probably check it after probably an hour and a half, hour and 45, see how it's going. There you go. What I might do, I don't have a brush, so a bit of milk on some paper towel. That should keep the top of it nice and golden brown. So that's it, damper, ready to go. Straight into the travel buddy now. For you guys that are looking to do a cake tin, I think it's 260 mil is the depth of the travel buddy. So if you are looking for a tin to do dampers or a loaf tin, head into your local Kmart or cooking store with a tape measure. You might look like a weirdo walking around measuring things with a tape in the shops, but 260 mil long. I've kept the bottom trivet in there in the travel buddy just to keep the bottom of the tin up off the actual bottom where the heating element is. That's it. I'll give it an hour and 45, 2 hours, and we'll come back to you. Bush cooking. All right, legends, it's been about 2 hours and 20 minutes that this damper's been in the travel buddy. So now we have stopped. I did check it halfway just to turn it around. So one thing you got to keep in mind with the travel buddy, it's gonna get hotter at the back of the oven than it will the front. So what we did was we pulled up, spun it around, because at an hour and 20 minutes it was cooked more at one end, And you can see she's pretty bloody spot on. That's all. Get this out, separate it a little bit. All right, time to drop it out. Now, I tell you what, if you could smell this on camera, the thing smells absolutely unbelievable. And look at that thing, golden brown, pretty well cooked to perfection. You can see the pieces of cheese that were in there as well. They've all started to brown up nicely. Judgment time now. It is cooked perfectly. Look at that thing. Absolute winner. Bit of butter on there. Keep the crew happy. So remember, 2 hours, 20 minutes with the damper. In all honesty, put whatever you want in it. Put leftovers, whatever you got in the fridge. You can still do the standard basic damper, but if you can add a bit more flavor in there, 2 hours, 20 minutes. Don't forget the half an hour or 45-minute preheat with the Travel Buddy, because it will help with the cooking time if it's already hot when it's in there. The only other key thing, your baking tray, 260mm long in total. Otherwise, it's not going to fit in there. That's all. I'll tell you what, that is an absolute cracker.